Hello and a very warm welcome to the brand new edition of Policy Watch. I'm Kriti Mishra. The All India Council for Robotics and Automation has announced the launch of a new initiative, the Tech Startup Program. It will act as an incubation environment for startups and other early stage adopters working on robotics and robotic process automation in India. The robotic process automation is a technological capability that allows the streamlining of operations in the enterprises. It also allows enterprises to automate their mundane and tedious processes, thereby enabling users to enhance their productivity through higher value-adding tasks. And to get deeper insights on the topic, I'm joined by Mr. Rajkumar Sharma, President, Council for Robotics and Automation, Mr. Ajay Kumar, Tech Entrepreneur, and also Mr. Kashif Noori, Tech Entrepreneur. Welcome to Rajya Sabha Television, all of you. Mr. Rajkumar, let me come to you first. Take us through the important highlights of the Tech Startup Program that your organization has launched.
Okay. All India Council for Robotics and Automation is engaged in various activities to promote and build an ecosystem for robotics and automation in India. We have launched many programs. Recently, during our one of the B2C event yesterday in Technozian 2019, we have launched this Tech Startup Summit program. The concept of Tech Startup is to give mileage to all new companies, newcomers who wish to do something in technology. There are various kinds of requirement when somebody wish to start some new company, wish to become an entrepreneur. There might be a requirement of technology support, there might be a requirement of funds, there might be a requirement of reaching the marketplace to the right customer segment. So we actually bridging the gap. We have created a system wherein we have lots of members like AICRA in different verticals. We have our corporate members, we have educationist members, we have B2C members. So wherein any startup they can connect to their direct target group. This is one aspect, benefit they can get it. Besides this, we have collaborated with lots of venture capitalists. So whosoever is required some kind of fundraising, so we can always help them. And there can be different kind of understanding with the company. We can have some kind of stake we can take within the startup, or other we can give them like kind of loan, or we can connect with them with the VC. So multiple options are there. And apart from this technology support, what happens, like any pass out engineer or anybody having different thought process, different kind of new thoughts in technology, and they need to have some technical guidance. So in that case, some of the domain experts has to be there, wherein they do not have any approach or connect. So we have many companies who are the industry partner with us. So those companies will be connecting with those startups. So that's how they can get all kind of technical support, knowledge, or infrastructure support kind of thing. So that kind of ecosystem we have built up. So all these three things are the basic necessity of for the startup. So we are actually bridging that gap. Normally, whenever we talk about any startup, the first question comes in the mind is the fundraising.
That's right.
Right. But actually, scenario is absolutely different. Suppose I am the student, I might be having some idea of my product or concept. But at what stage is that idea, whether it can be commercialized or not? First, we need to understand that. And our team will also be helping them out how to make that idea, in a real world, which can be utilized and which can be commercialized. So in that case, the team would be working, because sometimes we have misconception. Most of the because while interacting with so many students, new entrepreneurs, they have just a wish, or sometimes they have some thought, like I wish to do something, I have some different idea. But when it comes to to utilize that idea in the real world, it's a completely different thing. So we need to check where exactly the requirement to support them, whether it's a technology requirement or whether it's a kind of documentation requirement, some kind of regulatory things are involved. So there also we would be supporting them. And post that, we would be helping them with the fundraising and other supports.
So it's about providing hand-holding support to the startups in the automation and robotics regime. But coming to you, Mr. Kumar, there's a raging debate that automation will annihilate jobs, will obviate certain roles forever. Now, how would you assuage the concerns of the people that automation is here to make their lives easier and not to get them fired?
Yeah, I think this is the initial understanding. People feel that when automation comes, a lot of jobs will be gone. It's not the situation actually, not the real case actually. Whenever we have any process or any technology introduced for the betterment or improvement of a process, it all maybe it can create, it can result in some of the opportunity losses, but then it also create new opportunities by when you are introducing a new technology and bringing automation, because it is creating a new type of jobs. It is creating a new type of opportunities for the different level of engineers or different level of technicians. So it is never actually going to reduce the employment, but it's going to increase the employment, because it is not going to be implemented in one industry only, it will be implemented across the industries. So whenever you are actually implementing or adopting a new technology or automation across the industries, several hundred or several thousands of the jobs are created there. So it is one of the things which is need of the time, and it helps improving the productivity, it helps optimizing your process, and it also helps in safe working first of all. And apart from that, when you bring the automation into the system, robotics into the system, it actually give you a diversified understanding about the technology. It also give you about the overall improvement about the process requirement. People must be working in a, suppose in a packing line people are working, they must be only knowing the packing or maybe one process only. But when you bring an automation type of thing or a robotics into the system, they will also have a technologically enhanced knowledge. Instead of having a basic knowledge, they will have a technologically enhanced knowledge. That's very important from my view.
Absolutely, that's a very important point that you're making. But coming to you, Kashif, you're a young entrepreneur. Tell us, what kind of infrastructure are the tech entrepreneurs eyeing in India?
Basically, if you see, as Sir said, like when we think about a startup entrepreneur, young, as you said, we basically other person perceive as he has only a thought, okay, and from transforming that thought to real world, this implementation really needs, like, it's a very long journey, and it really needs very lots of things, from funding to technological support to especially legal support, like what are the legal changes has been various things has been changed in government, what are the government initiatives that are present. So as an entrepreneur, do not even, like, it's not like he just need to focus on technological part, but he has to focus on all the aspect, and here he can't do all thing alone. He need team, he needs support, and where like this kind of ecosystem will help growing this kind of entrepreneurship and this startup environment in India. That's what I say.
So the ecosystem is absolutely important.
Exactly.
But Mr. Rajkumar Sharma, can RPA foster work culture in enterprises and also in companies? That's something that the companies will have to ascertain. But the major challenge remains to drive this fundamental change.
See, of course, RPA can be utilized across the industries. It's not limited to one particular industry. Startups, suppose somebody has to do something, some innovation in utilization of the RPA technology. If I talk about Indian market, people hardly know about RPA. Not many times we hear the terminology called AI or ML and all. But RPA recently started, and the challenge is we do not have any experts in India who can actually deliver the technology. In our education system, this technology is not available, professor doesn't know. In our industry as well, we do not find out any industry in India who is actually using, it is just in its initial phase. In fact, AICRA recently had tied up with one of the leading company worldwide, that is UiPath. So we would be facilitating like how this technology can be transferred to the educationist. So we would be developing the content and with the help of such companies, and so that educationist can deliver it to the students, and so that we can make people ready for the future jobs in RPA. And this RPA can be utilized in two modes. One, in our processes, like you have to build up some automated process. In that case, this RPA technology can be utilized. And of course, to build that network, we need people who can actually, this is the future requirement. So once it is implemented in education system, so obviously we would be able to fill the gap of the future requirement as well. So this is the thought process.
So how will it streamline the education system, for instance, if we talk about that particular sector?
Delivering a technology, delivering an education, this is one requirement, and second, understanding this technology. So in our engineering field, recently some of the universities and colleges, they already started teaching AI, ML and deep science and all. RPA is also one of the new line of streamlines. So we actually are the company like organization who is actually giving support to the university and colleges, especially the engineering colleges, and they are getting associated with AICRA so that we can provide all those content stuff. And second, we are also setting up some kind of labs wherein students and faculty can learn and they can innovate some kind of product and process and services, so that can be utilized further. We have launched another concept called Global Innovation Center. So in India, we would be having initially in first phase we would be setting up 5 innovation center GICs. First one we have already set up in Mangalore, and the concept of GIC would be to set up a complete full-fledged lab within the university and college premise, wherein selected set of students and faculty all put together would be learning and will be doing lots of innovative work, will be doing lots of innovations and developing products. Later on, the similar product can be commercialized, so there will be an accelerator as well. And so this kind of concept will is the actually requirement of the education system. Today what happens, we develop the content, and from last 15-20 years we are reading the same content, right? So engineering is something which is more of practical thing. Right. So unless or until we do some kind of innovation, and educationists and industry both have to come on a same platform. If there is no synergy between industry and educationists, there would always be a kind of gap available in the market. So whenever we talk about any company, suppose I am running a company, I need expertise in RP or any other technology. If I source a student from the college, freshers, I need to train them. Right. I need to invest money, time, energy, everything. After 6 months or a year time, once they understand, then only we can utilize them. So why to waste such a huge time? So better to give that content to the university and colleges so that we can get the people ready for the future jobs.
So there has to be a linkage between industry and education.
It's very important.
That's very important for even the employment opportunities in India. But coming to you, sir, as he said, that the potential is massive. India is already on the cusp of transformation, trying to be a hub of innovation and also digitization. Globally, the RPA industry is pegged at around $100 billion. What are the growth prospects of RPA in India according to you?
So actually the India has just started actually adopting RPA at this stage. Some of the continuous manufacturing industries, part of the automotives had adopted it, robotics in India, and part of the pharmaceutical has adopted some of the automations, high level of automations, because it needs untouched and unmanned type of operations because of the type of medicines they produce. Also, it is actually automation is coming up very largely into the consumers manufacturing now, because consumers manufacturing needs a high level of automations to increase the efficiency and and the productivity into that. Because since most of the machines are running at 500 units per minute or 1000 units per minute, it is extremely challenging to manage manually.
Yes.
And that is where the automation plays a very important role. And even the robotics plays a very important role there, because some of the operations are robotized, some of the operations are highly automatized. This helps actually them to achieve their daily productivity to meet the market requirement. Because a company like Unilever or company like Procter & Gamble or any of the Godrej, these companies are highly consumer items company. And to meet the market requirement, they must have the speed up process, they must have the optimized process into their manufacturing sites. So we do sometime projects with these companies, and then we actually help them in automation front into some of their manufacturing lines, and that actually improves their productivity by 30%, 40%, and it doesn't reduce the manpower, because the similar manpower is trained to adopt the automations, and then productivity increased by that much. I mean, a 10% productivity increase in those type of environment is $1 billion in savings for them. When a company like $75 billion Unilever improve 10%, it is a huge, because their margins are not so high in consumers generally. The margins are limited in consumer side. So a 10% saving or a 10% improvement plays a very important role in their top line and bottom lines. And automation is essentially helps them definitely here. Like we are producing, we are actually developing a fast EV charging system.
Okay.
Now EV charging is the one of the pain area in the country, and since we have all slow charging system in the country, it is difficult to adopt the electric vehicles in the market. At this stage, it is limited to two-wheeler and three-wheeler only. Mahindra and Tatas have introduced four-wheelers, but since the fastest charging time available currently is 2.5 to 3 hours for any four-wheeler, I don't think anybody is going to buy them unless we bring it down to less than 40 minutes or less than 30 minutes charging time. We have been developing a system, it is being tested already in one of the places in Chhattisgarh, where a whole charging system has been automated. We also have introduced our patented super cooling system for batteries.
Okay.
It will sense the cooling and temperature of the batteries and guide the charging duration and charging current.
So the entire process is
The
going to be
entire
automated.
process is fully automatized, and it helps actually, we have not reached to 30 minutes still. We have reached to around 65, 66 minutes of charging, which is still better than 3 hours currently. And suppose a three-wheeler guy leaves in the morning at 7 a.m. for his duty, daily run. He will have a charging of 4 to 5 hours because night he has charged. At 12 he needs a charge, otherwise he will not do a business. So he will normally have a break of 1 hour, half an hour, 1 hour break. He should be able to charge in that much time so that he has another 5-6 hours of business. So this type of service need a fast charging system. So that is where I think we were thinking of developing, and we have developed a prototype already in running and testing. Once it is all validated in next 1 month, 2 months time more, possibly we will go for commercialization of this type of fast charging system.
Of course, we're talking about automation in manufacturing sector particularly. Kashif, help us understand, how is RPA different from traditional automation?
Okay, so if you think about your industries, okay, so we have these machines there, we have programmed them, and basically you can say do this job, it's a certain steps it is present over there, but they are not like you cannot go interactive, because our robotics industry, all the manufacturing areas are very dynamic, okay, and you cannot basically install a certain robot. You can say that it's a robot, but you can say a dummy thing that will do a static thing. It will not adapt with your changing environment. So there, if you ask about the manufacturing itself, there this robotics robotics devices, all these tools is present. They can adapt to the dynamic environment, and it is very efficient, and it can increase the productivity and everything, and also the safety itself. So,
right, so the safety aspect is also very
exactly
important. But Mr. Rajkumar, you mentioned about the finance to the startups. You talked about venture capitalists. How are you planning to source funds from CSR activities to set up incubation centers?
You must be knowing, recently our finance minister have announced like CSR fund can be utilized to set up incubation and GIC as well. So that fund is of course available, and besides this we have other plans as well to source funds from various companies and outside India as well. So we have a different model apart from CSR. There are large companies who have huge stock available which they have manufactured and lying in the go down. So why not to use that product stuff in a different way, so that suppose I'm a university, I need to set up some kind of laboratory for my students, but I don't want to invest that much of fund upfront. So
Yes.
either I need to take certain loan from the banks or somewhere, or if I get a company who can provide me that stuff, I can pay it through EMI or something, which is like product based financing, rather straightway giving money to somebody, right? So we can collaborate with lots of companies like this who can provide that the product and whatever stuff is available to the universities, college, or wherever we set up the center like this, and with a very acceptable and feasible payment plan. So that is one option, and that plan, like that money will also be not to the university is not supposed to invest that money as well. That can also be funded by some companies, or a CSR fund can also be utilized for that purpose, right? So in a low cost model, we can set up more GICs, more other concept like GICs. So this way, like, we can plan.
Mr. Kumar, how difficult is the RPA implementation process? Because there lies the key.
Yeah, I think yes, it is not as easy as it seems to be. Whenever we bring a change in the manufacturing cycle or manufacturing environment of any industry, you will face the huge resistance from the employees first of all.
Right.
And because they always feel that these automations can reduce the number of employment, and it reduces some time, But then I think before implementing or introducing any technology or any automation into the manufacturing sector or in the company, I think there should be an educational type of programs, in-house programs of the company, which actually should educate their technical teams, and then that and in turn they can educate the down the line teams actually, because education will help them to understand that this is for their betterment and for the improvement of the manufacturing cycle. If you don't do that actually, then there will be challenge. That's why it is very important to do that, because education makes them awareness and improve their awareness, and then they start feeling more comfortable. They start feeling taking it as a positive step instead of a negative step. So that's where it is very important to have a program, a concrete program before really introducing any technology or any automation, and that programs will help the technical team, non-technical team, and then they will understand that this adaptation of this automation or improvement of this process through automation is not going to kill their job. A lot of jobs are still available within the organizations. Possibly some of those people can be trained in those technology adaptation and automation front, and they will basically become driver of those technology into the manufacturing process. So that is how we should actually, training is very important, educating the employees or educating the engineering or technical team very important before adopting or before introducing any automation process in the manufacturing environment.
But we also need to understand about the life cycle of this technology. Kashif, help us understand the life cycle of this technology, which is the RPA technology.
If you talk about life cycle, so it's not like a defined system. It will go around like a certain year. It is evolving technology. Okay, so after a certain year, we will add something else. We will improve its performance. Improve due to the emerging of new technology. We can adapt. Like we can add artificial intelligence. We can add deep learning or computer vision or better control system. So as of now, like we cannot say that it will go a certain year, but I'm sure like it's going to be a part of our lifestyle in upcoming 10 to 15 years. That's why
it's a dynamic process.
It will be a completely part of our lifestyle and our society.
Mr. Rajkumar, I'll give you the last word. How can India compete with global peers in this particular industry?
India shouldn't be copying. In fact, people from here, they are moving outside, and I could see some changes in recently. In fact, lots of companies are actually watching India's progress in such kind of technologies, and they wish to invest in India. They wish to collaborate with companies, and so that this is a big opportunity for us as well, and we should be encashing that, and we have to create an environment wherein we have to, be it a government or be it the industry or anybody, the educationist, we have to create an environment wherein we build an ecosystem. It is not our job only, it is everybody's job, and so that foreign investors can look with a positive note, like India is the right time to get such kind of investment. And of course, if we get this kind of technology support, there are companies worldwide who are the leader in these domains, RPA and all. If they start investing in India in terms of technology, in terms of funding, obviously we can seek for a big growth in recent future. As our Prime Minister said, like we have to become a 5 trillion economy. It's not a word, it is a responsibility for everybody, and
yes,
everybody has to work in that direction. So the organization like AICRA is working just to build up an ecosystem, and we also seek supports from from the departments and from all other institutions to help us to make it for the nation building purpose.
And we have to encash this opportunity,
Obviously.
of course, that's a very important point. But on that note, thank you so much for joining us on this discussion. So automation is the need of the hour to enhance efficiency, productivity and optimization across industries and sectors. Well, that's all we have for you in this edition of Policy Watch. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Rajya Sabha Television.